To with us. This is All Things Fisker, episode number 6. Yes, that's right, episode number 6. We're streaming live on YouTube right now, but you can also find this show, believe it or not, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, yeah, that's right, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and my favorite, Spotify. So check out our podcast. I actually learned today that it's like in 3 countries in Europe, the podcast, believe it or not, is ranked in the top 10 in the automotive category. So either there's not many other podcasts in the automotive category, or people really like this show. I think Finland was one of them, Norway, can't remember the third country, but 3 of them in the top 10. I thought that was actually kind of funny. So, all right, we have actually quite a lot of stuff for you tonight here on All Things Fisker. I'm joined with my guest hosts, Jim from OSR Garage and Matt from Tesla Tips by Mountain Ranger. And we have a lot of information about the Fisker Ocean tonight. A lot of it came from the Paris Motor Show, a lot of stuff that we've never seen before. So there's a lot of cool things that we're going to talk about tonight. And in addition to that, we're also going to talk about the latest pop-up locations that are going to be coming here in the United States starting this weekend. So that'll be pretty exciting to talk about. And then we're also going to do a little stock talk. We're going to talk about Fisker's stock price, kind of get the latest there and keep tabs on it. So we're going to keep tracking that every week. That's going to be kind of like a regular thing with Fisker stock talk. We'll keep track of what's going on there. And that'll be a part of the All Things Fisker show. So before we dive in, go ahead and subscribe to our channels. I didn't say that until the very last time. For those that are listening to this podcast, you can subscribe to the podcast on the streaming services that I mentioned earlier. But if you haven't already subscribed to the Fiskerati YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so now. If you haven't subscribed to the OSR Garage and or Tesla Tips by Mountain Ranger channel, please do so. We greatly appreciate it. And I think that's about it. That's the opening for tonight. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Paris Motor Show. We saw a lot of cool stuff this week, and we saw everything, I would say, from the trunk to the stocks that are next to the steering wheel on the steering column. We saw the sun visors and the driver's screen and USB ports, cup holders. We saw so many things that are kind of interesting because some of them have changed. Things are a little different maybe than what we saw in the earlier prototypes. So the one that, for example, the one that I saw over at Fully Charged Live in San Diego. So we're going to talk about all that good stuff tonight. Before we do though, where is everybody joining us from tonight? We usually ask our viewers where they are joining us from, so we can go ahead and kind of get a pulse of where people are here in the United States or possibly Europe. And we also threw up a poll on the screen. Now, you may have already answered the poll. The poll question was the following. It's, are you still excited about the Fisker Ocean after seeing video of it from the Paris Motor Show? And you have a few different choices. You have yes, no, and meh, maybe not, who knows? So go ahead and take that poll for the next couple of minutes, and we'll go ahead and talk about the results here as well. So let's jump right into it, gentlemen. What were some of the favorite features or favorite things that you heard about over the last, 48 to 72 hours?
Like the color of the Horizon Blue.
Horizon Gray.
Surprised.
Horizon Gray.
Horizon
right?
Gray. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
There was pictures that some of it looked really a darker gray with a tint of blue, and then there was other times that it looked really blue. So I'm not sure. I need to see it out in the sunlight to get a real good eye of what that color is, because that was my first choice originally.
That is a very interesting choice. I just threw a photo on the screen for those that are watching along here, and it actually is quite beautiful. It's kind of funny because originally I thought, and a lot of people thought, it was Mariana, because It has kind of like a reflection, if you will, from the blue flooring that's directly underneath it. So it kind of picks up some of that bluish color. It kind of threw people for a loop there. And I think that, we were a little bit fooled by that, but Fisker confirmed 100% that it is indeed Horizon Gray. So that was actually pretty cool. And maybe some of the people saw the video that we posted onto our YouTube channel. That was from our special guest reporter who actually took lots and lots of photos and videos out of Paris from the motor show. One of which was the walk around of the Fisker Ocean, showing off the beautiful Horizon Gray paint. So yeah, that was pretty neat. So a shout out to Glenn Kahn, who actually guest reported for us. That was super cool. A lot of people have loved the video, and I think we were one of the first to actually post a lot of the video of the car interior and exterior. So that was actually kind of cool, but there's been a lot of them that have come online since. So yeah, that's pretty neat. And it looks like Jim shared a picture. Now, I'm going to pull that one up. What about you, Matt? What was something that kind of took you for a surprise, or something you liked?
One of them I think I have on the share screen coming up is the driver's taco tray, as they call it.
Ooh, yes.
That was the big surprise as far
cool.
as that was something they were hiding from us.
Yeah.
I actually have the little video snippet of that. So if you want to do the share.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. Maybe you can zoom in on it too real quick. There you go. Here we go. Here's for everybody watching along. This is the taco tray.
So let me
back it up, restart it. So yeah, that taco tray, there was
two
actual taco trays in this Fisker Ocean Extreme. There is a taco tray in front of the passenger seat, in the front passenger seat. And then there's also the hidden taco tray that is in the center console armrest. And it's actually kind of neat. We've all maybe have seen something like that, most likely on an airplane, but this was the first time that I've seen it in a vehicle. I'm sure there's like Rolls-Royce and different very high class, high end, if you want to call them. I don't know what the right term is to describe a Rolls-Royce, but I think I may have seen photos of not a taco tray, but a tray that folds out for fancy people to eat in the back end or the rear seats of a Rolls-Royce. But this is the first time I've seen it in an electric SUV, let alone any SUV. So this is actually pretty cool. Matt's sharing a screen here sharing a photo on the screen, and it has like what looks or appears to be some sort of a carbon fiber, very similar to what we've seen on the carbon fiber inserts on the Slipstream wheels, right?
Yeah, very similar.
It looks like.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Some people are saying, I just want to say, the tray for the driver is very similar to some people say that you'd have on a first class seat on an airplane. It folds.
Absolutely.
And goes into the seat. So very similar to that.
Very similar to that. Yeah, business class, first class, wherever class you pay more for. There's usually some sort of a foldable tray. Usually it's directly on the side of the armrest itself, but here Fisker's tucked it under the inside the center console armrest. So that was quite a hidden space. And then there was also some USB ports in there as well, I believe. There was a couple that I saw in the video that we shared on YouTube. Oh, Jim's got that one.
Oh, is he? Okay.
That's a good one. No, go for it. Oh, excuse me, Matt. Go on. Throw it on up for all of our viewers watching. There's actually, I believe there was 2 USB ports in there. And we'll throw it up on the screen here in just a minute.
Yeah,
I also have a couple photos as well, I believe, of it. So let me find those photos. And there's just so many photos and videos from the event. It was actually quite quite cool to see. I'd say my favorite feature that we saw so far out of Paris would probably be the Limo Mode. Usually a lot of times people are not given any control in the rear seats. They're just back there. They are stuck with having to keep the air conditioning and flow of the air conditioning at whatever the driver sets it at. In addition to the music, sometimes the driver can change with hey, I want to have more sound in the front of the vehicle or the rear of the vehicle, and that's how we have it in our Tesla. We have a lot more of the sound in the back, and for the people that are in the rear seats, it might be too loud. So Fisker gives you this Limo Mode where you can not only adjust the volume, you can also adjust the seats as far as the seat warmers go. You can adjust the air that flows on you, and there's the vents right up in front on the rear side of the center console armrest. But there was also a vent up at the top directly when you get into the vehicle it looked like it was right by the light that was up above the past the rear doors, and that looked like a vent for additional airflow. So I'm not sure what vent it controls in the rear. My guess is it's going to be the front console out of the front center console, and then the one up at the top. So that's pretty neat. First time I've ever seen this in a production electric SUV. So giving people the ability to have some say on what they hear, how they feel, the comfort level in the rear seats. So that was pretty neat. So we got a picture actually now of the inside of the center console, the driver's side, the driver's passenger center console. And there are those USB ports there. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Are those useful for you? Do you use those often in your existing cars?
Actually, I do. I use mine for a dash cam and also for a USB music, like a flash drive. And I noticed this is both an USB A and a USB C inside the armrest storage area.
Yeah, they both look like different sizes for sure, huh? Yeah, and one thing here that I've noticed that's different just based on this shot here, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to take a guess here and say to the left of the center console that you would lift up, is that where the key would go right there, that little glass piece right there? Yes. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen that before. It was a different setup, it looked like, in the previous prototypes that we've seen. Definitely the one that I saw in San Diego. In the cup holder position, a little different. So that's actually pretty neat. And there's the airflow in the back, the more USB ports, it looks like.
Yep, USB-C in the back for the back rear passengers.
Very nice.
Did you want to see the cup? I have the cup holders too. I can bring that up.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at those. Those are kind of in the same vicinity.
Let me go bring those up, and I'll have to share these guys. Hold on a sec.
Now, cup holders, believe it or not, are so important, and the center, I don't know if it's the center armrest or the armrest that's in the rear seats, also had two cup holders. And the nice thing I liked about the cup holders in the rear of the vehicle is that there was right in front of that screen on the Limo Mode, you would end up flipping forward the cup holders, and it actually was raised up a little bit. So if you're sitting in the back and you have maybe a large drink, maybe you have a Starbucks coffee or something like that, Venti or one of the taller ones, if the driver slams on the brakes for whatever reason, in some cars that I've been in, the cup can fall forward and kind of land on the floor in the rear, right by the rear seats, if there's a lot of force and whatnot. But that raised portion of the rear cup holder might keep the actual drink in its place should the driver, have to make an emergency stop and slam on the brakes. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. So there's the cup holders. There's the front cup holders. There's a few things we're looking at here, right?
Yeah, I want to mention the big change for the cup holders is they have the adaptive grippers. If you see, they're the three like fingers that stick out, so they can grab like cans or cups or something. I'll show you, the original one didn't have that. So if you look at this picture, it shows the top is what the original pre-production was. And if you look at everything, the plastic looks much nicer in the bottom production version, less sharp edges, I noticed.
Correct.
So it definitely looks
really nice.
Also.
And in the prototype, the picture up above, the flow of the entire center console from the phone charging section to the cup holders to where the actual key fob would go, it's very nice. They have kind of like a nice design, a little stripe down the middle. It looks really, really polished compared to the prototype, and everyone loved the prototype and how it looks. So this is a bonus. This is like an upgrade. Super. So that's the cup holders. There we go. And I believe there's only 4 cup holders that I've seen in the car. I've watched every video that came out of Paris, the front seats, the rear seats, and I've only seen 4, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. I haven't seen a good shot yet at the prototype in San Diego at Fully Charged Live. We didn't actually, we looked at the doors, and the pocket on the doors was so narrow that there was no place for a cup holder. I haven't seen anybody focus on the pocket on the doors yet. So it'd be interesting to see, when we take delivery of a vehicle at some point in the hopefully near future, we'll be able to look at that, because cup holders to me are a really important thing. And there isn't actually any cup holder on my existing car where I can fit my Gatorade, and it just doesn't fit. So I have to jam it in the seat or keep it between my legs or throw it wherever, it'll fit. So that's kind of a bummer. I wish cup holders were a little bigger. It'd be great to test this. This is a 28 ounce drink. They've gone a little cheaper here with the Gatorades these days. They used to be 32 ounces. Now they're 28 ounces, and they charge more. So I didn't know it cost that much more to make the bottle or sugar water. But it's this is a little narrower, a little slimmer of a Gatorade. So it'd be interesting to see if that actually fits in the cup holder, both the front or the rear. Now you got another photo here we're going to take a look at. These are those rear cup holders where
we're
you
talking
do have
about
that
limo
raised
mode,
bit, right?
Yeah. So it definitely has a lip on it, like you mentioned, that it'll keep the drinks from falling forward. So, like if you brake hard or something.
Not many people
like that.
think about that. Not many people who are designing an interior. And I heard in one of the videos, and I know Henrik has mentioned this in the past, that he said the lead designer on the interior was actually a female. And I thought that was neat. Not that has anything to do with the cup holders, but maybe it has more to do with paying attention to detail or something. And that is, I think, very interesting. There is an image right there of the Limo Mode. That is pretty cool. It shows where the air conditioning is. Wow, that's a good shot of it as well. You can actually turn it on, so you don't have to have, if you do have the armrest down, you don't have to look at all the controls. You can actually hit the power on, power off button, which is actually kind of nice. Now, we knew there was going to be a limo mode. We didn't know exactly how Fisker was going to execute that. And one thing that I noticed in this image here, that a lot of people call it the waffle grid or the waffle pattern, the checkered pattern on the interior and the back. Now, the lighting over at the Paris Auto Show was actually pretty bright. There's the video that was shared on the Fisker account, I believe, today or yesterday. That's actually pretty cool. Power on. They're showing in the video, and the cup holder. But yeah, that waffle pattern from the solar sky roof, it's definitely noticeable in the rear. With and we haven't seen one photo or video yet of the solar sky roof opened. everything has been shut. The car has been, windows, doors, whatever. Granted, doors have opened, but like the windows on the doors, they have not been opened yet in any photos or videos, as well as the solar sky roof. So there's that waffle pattern. It shows up immensely on the rear seat there in the middle, right where the armrest is, where it's folded down. So that's going to be interesting. I love the idea of a solar sky roof. Not sure I love the idea of looking at a grid pattern on the interior of the vehicle. And the solution I pitched to Jim and Matt the other week, or maybe last month, was possibly tinting. I might tint. If it drives me that crazy, I'll tint the interior of the glass, the glass roof, interior glass roof. I might have to tint that if the pattern is too crazy on my eyes. So that was neat. So far, so we've seen the USB ports, the cup holders. We've seen Limo Mode, and Matt's got a lot more photos for us to take a look at. Which one do you want to check out now, Matt? Which is the next one up?
I guess we got the seats. I wanted to show that
Looking
one
at the
here.
Malibu interior. There's been a couple changes on the interior, haven't there been, since the prototype?
Yeah, they seem to have changed I guess there's that line that goes through the center, that insert. Used to be a light color blue, I think it was, and now it's dark. So I'm not sure if it is the same fabric or it looks a little different, but I have this showing the back of the seat came up. Let me get this in the
and even on the back of the seat, that's something worth looking at right now. So there's no pocket, is Glenn mentioned on the video. He said there's no rear pocket on the back of the seat. So like we do have that on the Tesla Model 3. I have like a sun shade that will stick to the window, like a self cling. Some people put maps in there. It's not real big usually, and if you put too much stuff in there, whoever's sitting in the back, it makes it uncomfortable. So usually put like flat things back there, but not on the Fisker Ocean. There is not a back pocket, but there is, believe it or not, a coat hanger. So instead of putting the coat hanger up at the top where people would traditionally find it, Fisker put it on the back of the seat. That was, to me, an interesting one. I don't know if I like it there, but it's there, and I don't know. I've never used the coat hanger. Maybe once in a blue moon, I'll use the coat hanger. But I think keeping that buried up at the top, that feature, I think that would have been a better call. But hey, don't forget who designed this. A female designed this, and maybe females love having stuff hung on the back seat. Not sure. Just saying, but let us know in the comments what you think about that one. What do you think? Where do you think that coat hanger should have been? I know we have some males and females that are watching right now. Should that coat hanger have been on the rear of the seat, or should it be traditionally where we would see it up at the top, where you have the little grabber? I don't know what it's called, the handle. I know one way of calling it, but that's not appropriate for our family show here. So that's let us know your thoughts in the comments. And by the way, if you have questions, go ahead and post them in the chat as well. That would be great. Now let's take a look at this here. We see the Malibu interior. What were your first thoughts of this, Matt?
Yeah, I noticed that there's like some sort of like little pattern, like a little bunch of squares and rectangles at the top. That's kind of like embroidered. Looks like it's embroidered into the fabric. So it's kind of like a little bit of a extra pizzazz to it, I guess. But it is dark. So compared to the original light color.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely dark. I think it looks nice. It definitely is the blue. There was a couple people that thought it might be a different color, but it's definitely Malibu. The car was Horizon Gray. We had Malibu interior. We had the slipstream wheels with the silver alloy. That was kind of the setup for the Fisker Ocean. Now let's take a look at that one. Wow, that's a really dark shot. What's that one we're looking at?
This was the two little storage areas under the seat. And that was the best
very nice.
screenshot I could get of our great video contributor to the channel. So yeah. So it slides open, and I guess there's room inside. I guess we'll have to get some in the future, some better shots of it. But so it looks like it has a hinge and it slides open.
That's pretty neat. So as people know, where the traditional glove box would be, and we talked about this, Jim actually showed us a video of the Rivian last week, and we got to see the storage compartment that was underneath. I believe it was the driver's seat. Was that the driver's seat or maybe the passenger seat? It was on both of them, wasn't it, Jim? And you had a Rivian this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I had one this weekend.
So that storage compartment, was it on both the driver and passenger side of the Rivian as well? Or was it just the driver's side?
Both driver and passenger.
Yeah. Got it. So the same on the Fisker Ocean. That's a nice shot there of the Malibu Interior. And Glenn was feeling it. He thought, hey, it's like a fabric-y type texture. It's not so everybody knows. It's called Eco Suede. That's what the Malibu Interior comes in. They have Eco Suede, and then some of the other pattern that's on the sides and the rear, that's what Fisker calls Eco Leather. So it's a combination of the two, but the portion that you sit on, that is the Eco Suede material, and it's got that pinstripe going down the center of the actual seat, both in the front and the rear. Now, I believe I saw, and I wonder if Fisker still has it. I'm going to have a quick look, but they did say there would be some teal accents in the interior on the Fisker Ocean 1 on their marketing page. Now, I wonder if that may have changed. Probably did, but maybe not on the actual website. So they talk about the Malibu Interior and on their website, and they did talk about having, teal accents. I don't see, oh, here it is. I'm going to read it real quick. It is still there. It says, the Malibu Keller theme combines indigo Eco Suede high-grade upholstery seats with distinctive teal accents, black abyss door accents, platinum metallic accent trim, and black abyss carpet. So I didn't see in this production intent vehicle. Now, maybe Fisker's going to pull a switcheroony on us, and they're gonna ship something a little different. But I didn't see any teal accent on any portion of the seat or in any of the video that I've seen so far. There was no teal anything in the interior, unless I totally missed it. Oh, maybe there it is. Maybe it's a little tiny edge.
That's a picture of the pre-production, just to compare.
Okay. Oh, geez. Yeah, you scared me there for a second. I was like, that looks different than what I just was looking at over in Paris. Yeah, you're right. So that's the teal. Good one to have the photo ready there. But yeah, there's the teal. But I didn't see that in anything that Glenn shared with us. So maybe it'll come back. Maybe we'll see a little bit something different. Do you think that's possible, or highly unlikely at this stage?
It's hard to say. I guess we'll see. I was trying to get a picture of the headrest, the final version of the headrest, but all the pictures are so dark that I tried to lighten them up, and it's still like a kind of a pixely mess. But
they almost look, just the shape of it almost looks like what we saw with the latest, Fisker Ocean on the European tour, that silver lining one. Same type of pattern. The what I called before the barrel or the wave crashing on the headrest, it was a lot more prominent in the prototype than it is on this latest Fisker Ocean, or what I was calling the Fisker Ocean production intent vehicle. One thing there, though, on the screen that was not on anything else that I've seen in the prototype is the airbag little tag. That's on the front driver and passenger seats. So that's definitely a new addition to the interior.
Guess what else is new in this picture?
That light at the top, maybe?
Yep. The rear light is now a spotlight, I guess, in addition to an ambient light. The original ones were like long rectangular kind of diffuse lights. So I'm guessing it probably has the ability to be a spotlight and an ambient light in one piece.
Yeah, and And something else that's different in here, and you can barely see it, but it's in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Fisker has added a button the rear of the seats to actually recline the seats in the back. I've never had any car in the past that I've owned that let the rear seats recline. That's a new one to me, but maybe that's a new feature that people are putting into cars.
Yeah, I think I have another shot of that coming up. So
cool. The interior was.
It was nice to find out that the rear seats reclined.
Have you ever been in a car where they recline or no?
No, I haven't.
Car, but
I believe
not electronically.
The Hyundai Ioniq 5 does, and maybe the Kia EV6. I can't remember if both of them do or not.
Got it. Yeah, that was kind of cool. That was a kind of a surprise feature. Like, what's that button there? So that was pretty neat. Didn't get to test it out
somewhere else. I gotta dig that up.
Yeah, I got one too. If we need it, there's so many. Glenn took so many awesome photos, so I got that one. If we want to pull it up here real quick, let me throw it up on the screen. Here it is, and let me share my screen for the people that are watching. For the people that are listening into the podcast, we're actually showing all the photos that
not the greatest podcast.
No, but it's still fun to listen in and hear us talk about this stuff. But the photos of the Fisker Ocean that our guest reporter took out in the Paris Motor Show, which had a press day starting on Monday, and the event actually runs through the 23rd. So if you're in the area, if you're traveling to Europe, if you happen to be in Paris, you would have an opportunity to check it out over at the Paris Auto show, or the Paris Motor Show, whatever you want to call it. But here is what I was talking about, that little button on the screen. There it is. You have a up, down, it's a, recline, and then kind of, bring it back to the upright position. So that was neat. We learned that back seat too, you can fold it down. It's a 40-20-40 split. When it's pushed down all the way into the near flat position, that's what it looks like. It's not completely flat, but it has kind of like a little, maybe a little rise. We didn't see any photos of it. That was what the representatives told Glenn, as maybe some of you have found out if you watched that video. So that's interesting. I have a couple cars in the past where it's never completely flat. Could be due to the headrests, or the way in which the bottom part of the rear seats kind of goes up a little bit. So when it's folded down, it kind of gives kind of a little bit of an incline. But yeah, those buttons are kind of neat feature there. And then that gives you a really good shot, I think, as well, of the Malibu interior fabric. The fabric, you can see the lines in the Eco Suede on that rear seat with the lighting. So that was actually a good one. We have a couple other ones too. Let me throw up some other ones on the screen here. That is the rear of the vehicle. There was a couple interesting things on the rear of the vehicle that we learned, especially around the tailgate, and I think I have another one coming up here in a minute. But the actual towing of the vehicle, there's a little cover on the back, and I probably have a better image of it, and I'll go ahead and throw that up if I can find it real quickly. But that particular cover will pop off, and that's where you would put your tow hitch. I was told that if you're in Europe, if you're towing like a camper van or something like that, you would end up having like an arm that sticks out that you can actually use to tow a vehicle, or to tow something behind you, a trailer or a caravan or whatever it may be. Yeah, swings out. There you go. It swings out. So we're not sure if that's exactly how it's going to be in the United States. Chances are it's going to be like a ball that you would attach something to, but it could also swing out here in the United States. You guys have a thought on that?
I would say it's probably going to be a sleeve, just like traditionally that we would put a ball and hitch on.
Okay.
Just because
Yeah,
of our
like a
wiring
2-inch one,
and
I think,
stuff.
right? Yeah. Yeah, they call them a 2-inch, like hitch receiver is the most common
Yeah.
size.
Yeah, you're gonna have that's hitch sleeve.
And then one thing that Glenn mentioned, he went around and he did kind of what I did over in San Diego, and he touched everything and felt everything and tapped on everything. And he said that the plastic in the rear and the front of the vehicle is very sturdy plastic. It's very firm, very high quality. So that's nice to know. I've had some front ends and rear ends of cars where that black plastic is flimsy, and it's nice that he said it's very sturdy. And I thought, that's cool. That's a nice touch, making the vehicle with high quality parts. Now we have something else that looks actually kind of high quality. Matt ended up sharing a cool photo of the rear cargo area.
Yeah. It looks
And
deep.
Yeah,
we have a couple different things. Yeah, go for it.
I was going to comment on the subfloor. The type of I guess cover they're using on it has two different ways. I guess you can lift it up. There's like you can pull the front of it, like in this picture. You can actually access like a cubby area, or if you fold that back, the front lifts up. So it's like a very like adjustable type of subfloor. And I would say probably about 5 cubic feet of space underneath the floor. So pretty nice size for storing additional things, like when you go on trips or things you just don't want out in the rest of the car. You can put them under there, like shopping bags or something.
Yep, shopping bags. That's in the Tesla. That's where I put the CHAdeMO charger, or the CHAdeMO adapter, I should say. I have it stuck down there so it doesn't roll around and things like that.
So you can see it's fairly deep from that angle.
Definitely
I would
deep.
say,
and
yeah. And then we got a good picture of the outlets too.
Yep, the outlets. And Glenn showed us that particular vehicle, because it's meant for the European market. That particular vehicle, it actually had the European two-hole plug with the round little holes. So that was interesting. So this is definitely not going to the United States after this. It's probably staying in Europe somewhere. Maybe this is going to be the vehicle that ends up next in Oslo, at the Oslo Motor Show, which I believe actually is the week after this show ends. So the Oslo Motor Show, for the people that are still in Europe that want to check this out, that would be October 28th through 30th. And I would imagine Fisker is going to take this vehicle. I'm guessing every time there's a pop-up event now, you're going to see this or a newer version of the Fisker Ocean. You're no longer going to see that silver lining that we've seen at so many of the events, whether it was Copenhagen or Munich. So that's kind of a neat thing. So if you didn't get enough Fisker Ocean and you want to see it again over at the Oslo Motor Show, you can do that on October 28th through 30th. And there also is a press day there too. So if we have any viewers that want to do guest reporting from Oslo, reach out to us, and we'll be happy to publish the photos and the video that you take. Now, we got another image here from, this one's from Matt. Here we go. And what are we looking at here?
Okay, on the top of the screen is the front visors on the car. We were wondering the last couple episodes what they were going to finalize it. And it actually looks like they are choosing the one that folds in half. So you can see here, it actually has a line across the whole thing where it becomes smaller and folds up into the upper part of the car there. And you can see the mirror opening.
When we were looking at that heat testing, you could see something up there. You wasn't quite sure what that was. I thought it would actually be maybe retractable, but it's foldable. And it looked like it was kind of magnetic as well to some extent, or it clips into place once it folds. So it's pretty sturdy.
Yeah.
And you see it folded forwards instead of folded up towards the headliner.
Yeah, you can fold it either way from what I've seen in another video. So quite interesting. Oh, the only negative is that you can't extend it. So if you fold it towards the door window, and some cars allow you to pull it out, you know, towards the B-pillar, in case you got sun on the corner of your eye. It from the video, yeah, it appears that it doesn't extend. So maybe it's long enough that you don't need that. So I guess we'll see in more videos what exactly that is.
Yeah, there's definitely not much clearance between the rear view mirror and the actual sun visor. So maybe that's standard. If I recall, that on the Tesla that I have, there's quite a big gap. I could probably fit my whole hand in between the visor and the actual rear view mirror. So maybe this is slightly bigger, not sure. We'll have to test it out and find out. But yeah, you get a little small mirror there, and I don't think there was a light on it, but I could be wrong. I think Glenn tried that, and I don't think there was any light that showed up on it.
I think the light may be those two white sections on the opposite sides of the mirror.
Yeah, it looks like that would be light.
It could be, but maybe it's just not activated yet or something. Maybe it's the wiring is, who knows? But I've seen many cars that have the dual lights on either side of the mirror that light up.
It makes it nice, right? Yeah, I would imagine that's what that is. But yeah, we can't confirm that because it didn't happen. But still pretty cool. So just a nice little design touch. And then we have also, let's see here, what else do we have? We have the gear stocks. Those are actually kind of interesting. I saw a couple different angles of the gear stocks. Not sure which ones you chose, but what I ended up seeing on the videos that I watched, it looked like there may only be two stocks now. But we'll find out here. Maybe Matt's got a lot better images than I do. So
I have the pre-production, and this one shows the pre-production with the 3 stalks on the left-hand side. That was based on
so many.
And it was based on a Mercedes actual. If you look at this is the Mercedes from I think 2010 to 2020. They used this setup. And if you go back and forth, it's almost exactly. So I bet they used the Mercedes one just as a quick, because Magna makes Mercedes G-Class. So they may have just stuck the G-Class one on it temporarily for the pre-production. Here's the final, and the final only shows 1 stalk on the left-hand side.
On each side. Yeah, one on each side.
One on each side.
That's what I saw. Yep. So the one on the right would likely control the gears of the vehicle, park, reverse, drive, etc. Whereas the one on the left, that's probably going to be your windshield washer fluid, maybe, or the windshield wipers, windshield washer fluid, maybe your high beams, and who knows what else is going to be, buried in the settings of that particular stock. Do you have any?
It does look.
Any thoughts?
It does look like a lot of buttons on it. So I'm betting turn signal,
like a lot.
wipers, lights, and I think the lights are actually on the button bank to the left of the steering wheel of the lights.
They are over there on the left.
You see that? So I'm betting it's just the wiper controls. Probably the intermittent speed. Stuff like that, and which is nice because I miss having that on my Tesla. But yeah,
that's pretty neat. Now there's also the control buttons on the actual steering wheel as well. So there's so many different buttons to control things on this car. You might end up feeling you're going to either feel at home and comfortable. Maybe you're a pilot and you're cool with all these buttons. To me, I like the simpler approach. I'm glad Fisker got rid of the 2 extra stocks on the left there. I thought, wow, I'm overwhelmed. There was 3 there. That's just way too many, especially because the LCD or the 17.1 inch display, that's going to have controls and stuff as well. So Fisker is definitely big on the buttons. He actually said in a video that I watched that he was really actually pleased and happy that he actually put buttons down at the bottom of the 17.1-inch display. So he likes the touch. So you drive in, you don't have to mess around with the screen. And I will admit, having the Tesla Model 3, trying to find, it was the worst experience that I've ever had. I only had to drive maybe 2 miles to go get groceries from Ralph's. Since purchasing the car, this was, I don't know how many months ago it was. Maybe it was 5 months ago. I was driving the car on a rainy day, or it started off being, I left the house and it wasn't raining. By the time I got to the freeway, which was only maybe a 2-minute drive from where I live, I get on the freeway and all of a sudden torrential downpour, and I didn't know where to turn on the wipers on the Tesla Model 3. And this was right after, maybe it was not, you'll probably know exactly when it was, but it was like a major update of the UI. It was probably last year, maybe it was during the rainy season last year, time's flown. But there was a major update where they ended up changing the entire UI. You could actually put icons down at the bottom of the UI. It was a major overhaul, changed buttons everywhere. And I should have known before getting in the car and driving, in case it did rain, how to turn on the windshield wipers. But that was such a pain. So I started fidgeting around with the left stop, and eventually I got the, instead of using the display, I got the, the button is what I figured this is. Maybe it'll shoot water on the windshield with the sprayer, but hey, I need to get that window clean. And that's what I did until I got to Ralph's, the grocery store. And then I got to play with the LCD or the screen and find out where they buried the windshield wipers. And it's not buried really, but it wasn't where I thought it would be. So a little story for you there. So it's nice that there's the buttons on the control. If Fisker puts the windshield washer controllers or the wipers on the left, and then maybe they also put them on the display, who knows. But I'm going to definitely remember where those are in case we have a rainy season here coming up. So we got something else here. This looks pretty cool. What do we got here? We have the actual, whoa, and you spent the time labeling these. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I had some time this afternoon. I was curious. There were so many lights, and some of them I'm not totally 100% sure what they are, but most of them I labeled. And
so
this is on the Fisker
instrument panel.
Yeah, in driver's instrument panel. I put a message thread in the Fisker forums that lists.
Okay.
This picture.
And so the people that are listening along,
that
are listening along on the podcast, if you head over to forums.fiskeraudio.com, there will be a thread that talks about the instrument panel that you can check out. And Matt ended up labeling each of the buttons on this instrument panel. And you want to go ahead and share what you found out?
Yeah, I mean, across the bottom, there's like a lock button. I'm not quite sure if it's a lock on the car itself or a charger lock. I guess we'll find out. There's next to that, we got a bunch of battery-looking icons. One has like a battery with a bunch of other batteries stacked. I'm guessing that's the high voltage battery. Then there's one next to it, looks like the 12-volt battery. Then the next one next to that looks like a motor, like a little image of what a motor would look like. And I'm guessing these are just all warning lights if something's too hot. You would never see all these lights on in the car. This is probably just like a test of all the lights. In a worst case scenario, you'll probably never see most of these lights. Then next to that
would be a good thing, right?
Yeah, a high voltage battery. Then one button next to that looks like the glass roof open. So I guess that's just warning you that the roof is open. Then it looks like a doors open. Then something about airbag, maybe the airbag warning on or off. Then seat belts. I'm sure that happens a lot. You'll see if you don't have everybody fastening their seat belts, that light probably comes on. Keep on going. There's parking brake. brake warning. This one I wasn't sure. The one that has a picture of the car with the 4 tires. I was thinking maybe tire pressure, but some people thought it may be all-wheel drive or something to do with that. I'm not sure. It's a kind of an odd image. I really haven't come across that one before. Then we got lane departure, low tire warning, traction control, and then they have a little icon for a little camper. So I'm guessing that's towing mode at the very right side.
That's pretty neat.
And most of the stuff on the top is all self-explanatory, like the lights and speedometer and time.
I like that ADAS speed limit one. That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I guess they also have a remaining range, but that is 0, and the state of charge shows a 0. So I guess in this demo they just didn't have any actual numbers for that at this point. But so that'll have real numbers, I guess, when you actually have the car.
Yeah, that's neat. Now there's one thing that there were so many things we saw on the 17.1-inch display, right? There was so many different buttons and gadgets and things like that.
I don't have any of those, so if you can grab some of those shots.
Yeah, I do. I do have one.
I've exhausted my supply.
That's funny. Yeah, let me grab one. If I have one handy, actually. The one thing I do have, let me throw this up. So this is a video, and the video actually has the LCD or the display. So let's go ahead and throw this up here. So hopefully everybody can still hear us. Let us know in the chat if you can. This ended up doing some adjustments last time, and we had some people who had a hard time hearing us when I put the video on, but it should be good today. Now, let's get over to the screen. Oh, maybe I passed it. There we go. Not the greatest. So anyhow, the things that I wanted to call out, there it is right there. That's at least part of it. We ended up seeing a sneak peek of this on Friday, and it was a picture of a map. You ended up having your music. You ended up having the seat temperature controls or the seat warmers, and then you had a bunch of battery, range factors and things like that. That's the screen that the demo started on. That was in the vehicle, and then it ended up switching over to the battery charging. And one element or feature of the charging screen was the solar skyroof, and that charging and showing you how many miles you are getting for the solar skyroof. So how many, you could say, hey, how many, free miles, if you will, did you receive today, the week, the month, all time. So I thought that was actually kind of a cool feature. It's the first time that we've kind of seen a demo of it. This isn't totally finalized, and it looks like Matt has a lot better of a picture than I do. So let's throw that up on the screen.
And I could scroll through these. This is, cool. I guess, a summary page of I guess a set of 4 windows. Not sure exactly yet what the menu items on the left are going to be, besides you can tell one's navigation, one's music, phone, etc., charging screen. But the top one, I guess, is the one that's highlighted. I guess is just maybe a summary screen.
A summary screen, yeah.
Here's you're talking about charging.
Yeah, I thought that looked nice. That looked pretty cool. It's like a battery filling up, and they use the roof as the battery, even though that wasn't the battery screen. But yeah, the solar sky roof there. That's very nice. So only the Extreme and the One will probably have this particular feature here. And then you have, that would be your energy. So you had also, we didn't see the trip, but there's also a thing for trips as well. This is going to be neat, the solar sky roof. And actually, if you are able to park your vehicle outside, but if you go on a long road trip, you'll actually get to see how much energy it creates. So there's a live setting. So it's like, what's it doing right now? How's it helping me out? How do I benefit from it? And that's kind of a neat thing. If it didn't have this way to interact with the actual solar sky roof, it wouldn't probably be as cool. But actually being able to see how much energy it harvests from the sun, I think is pretty neat. Who knows if it's worth the cost of going for the extreme and the one versus the ultra, but I think it's still pretty neat. I'm gonna love playing with that when I take the car out of the garage. And the maps look pretty neat. That demo actually used a Los Angeles city map, and it looks like they put in some sort of a destination on this particular map, and the vehicle is traveling down the path that is recommended for the destination. So it's given turn-by-turn directions.
There's news on this one. Is the little on the bottom corner it says TomTom, so I'm guessing they're using TomTom for the GPS navigation info. We didn't know that originally, so I think this is a new thing that we learned this week.
Yeah, I saw you post that in the forum. The TomTom Maps, versus say Apple Maps or Google Maps.
Yeah, which is surprising because this is based on Android Automotive operating system. We thought they would use Google Maps.
Yeah, that would be the obvious one, wouldn't it be? Yeah, TomTom Maps. That's interesting. Yeah, I think they used to I think we used to have back in the day when we went and got a rental car, they would actually have the TomTom device that would actually have the maps on it that you can plug into the cigarette lighter and you get the turn-by-turn directions. Now it's they're more, it looks like a content provider of map data. So kind of cool. And then we have, what else do we have? We have
streaming music.
We got the streaming music. Now it's interesting, like this is perfect for a demo to throw some icons in there. But something tells me they're probably going to have more to offer than just this. Maybe at the get-go, maybe this is what we get, or maybe they're holding some icons back. Tune in for news, kind of neat. Spotify, iHeartRadio, a whole bunch of different radio stations, and then Bluetooth, and then the radio itself. So those are pretty basic, standard options.
Jim, what streaming would you like to see?
I think when the screen is turned, you're probably going to have options like Netflix and YouTube and all of that. Just when it's in this position, you're going to be limited to what you can get. So.
And it looks like almost like on the left-hand navigation. So you have the main navigation at the top left, and then you have three icons down below. The third icon from the bottom left on the left-hand nav, it looks like those could be apps potentially that you could maybe install. Maybe there's going to be an app store or something where you'll be able to select different, apps to display possibly, whether those are music apps or maybe an app store. Maybe you can install stuff. Maybe at some point you'll be able to purchase apps, or maybe that's also going to be where you can unlock features on the vehicle if maybe you have the Sport.
I would love if they had the ability to, like, say, have an integrated plug share or a better route planner. Just alternatives for charging are good to have too, I think, built in. That's something I wish Tesla had. I also would like for music, I'd love them to get Amazon Music or Apple Music. There's so many different streaming that we use networks
Pandora.
that people have, or Pandora.
Yeah, Pandora's a good one. Yeah, I know there's a big one, Sirius XM. A lot of people would love that. And granted, you don't need the receiver anymore in the car to do it. You can actually just install the app and just use the data plan. So I loved that on my phone. I actually I had it for a good year and a half or so, where I'd be able just to pull up the app and go for a run and listen to whatever channel. I think I listened to the Highway on there. I don't know what number that is now, 60 something, but I love the country music on Sirius XM. So that was cool. That would be a very cool must-have feature for a lot of people, Sirius. But who knows if we'll get it? That'll be interesting to find out. That's cool. That's one thing my daughter always says. She sits in the back seat in her car seat, and she always tries to she always asks, and we always have to try to describe to her what the cover art is of the song, or the album that's playing. She is always curious, like, what's in the picture of the song that's playing. So seeing a bigger picture of the music that's playing, that's going to be a nice feature for people in the backseat, if you're into that sort of thing. Now, my 5-year-old daughter is, so that's good for her.
And that's the last one I had for these screenshots of the user interface. Pretty much. Yeah, I think that was it.
I think that's it. I think that's everything we covered that is news to us. Maybe you thought of something or saw something. Let us know in the chat if there's something that we missed. But let us know. That'd be a good one to find out if we missed something that you may have seen in your viewing of the photos and the videos. So we covered the trunk. We talked about taco trays. We didn't show any photos of the taco tray in the front passenger side, but there is a taco tray there. We played with it, or we tapped on it when we were over in San Diego. Didn't do anything. It was just the outline in the actual where the glove box would be, but that actually pulls out. Our guest reporter Glenn said that you needed to push it out and need to pull it out, and he said it locked into place, and then had to kind of push it in to make it go back in. But he said all the taco trays are really sturdy. Henrik shared a picture of a video today of the taco tray, and the driver's side taco tray, and that was actually kind of neat to see him push on it. And he's like, hey, you could, maybe sometimes you'll eat a burger in the car or a taco. In Paris, maybe they eat croissants or something like that. I love my baguette when I go to Paris eating. So there's lots of different ways to use it, no matter what type of food you like, what country you're in, and if you work in a car, which I've been known to do. I like working sometimes from the car, from the driver's seat, and having that tray there up a little raised. It's good with being able to type on the keyboard. In addition to that, one feature that would be actually pretty neat. Maybe Fisker doesn't come out with that at launch, but seeing you have the Hollywood mode when you're stopped, and I would presume people who are waiting from their vehicle will be in the parked position. If you're using your taco tray, maybe there's a way to pair your laptop or your device with the actual screen, so that you can do kind of like what I'm doing here. I have my laptop down here, and I've paired it to my huge screen here, and maybe it would be neat to be able to play and have kind of like the dual screens going, one on the taco tray and then one on that 17.1 inch display. Have another screen there to throw a browser or whatever you might be using on your computer, as an example. So maybe that's an idea for the people over at Fisker to find a way to do that. But that could be an over-the-air update at some point. Like they're gonna be able to unlock a lot of features. That might be one that we could see unlocked, assuming the people who are buying the Ocean 1 and the Extreme that have that driver's side taco tray, maybe they're if they're working from the car and not just eating, maybe they're business people, and maybe that would be a cool feature to pair the device in the car with the actual display at the front of the vehicle. So those are the features that we saw. We'll have a look here in just a minute at the comments. Maybe you guys have spotted some other things. Now we're going to actually talk about, and I alluded to it a little earlier, but we're going to talk about pop-up locations. And The first one, just to get it out of the way since I mentioned it earlier, was the Oslo Motor Show. That one's going to run once again on October 28th through 30th. So that'll be your next opportunity to see the Fisker Ocean in Europe. So keep that one on your calendar. If you're rewatching this from Europe and you want to see the Fisker Ocean, maybe you couldn't make it to the Paris Motor Show, you got a second chance to see it over in Oslo. So that would be your first one. And then the next one, the one that I'm most interested in, is the road show going on here in the United States. So we have the road show going on in Seattle. We have it going to Houston, Austin, and to Dallas. Now, I'm wondering, I'd love to hear your guys' take. Do you think there's absolutely any chance we see a Fisker Ocean production intent vehicle that we saw at the Paris Motor Show? Do you think we see anything like that over in the United States? Do you think they've had time enough to fly one over here, or drive, ship it on a boat, or however they get them here? Do you think any will pop up on this road tour here? Or you think that's just wishful thinking, maybe?
Yeah, I doubt it's the new production ones.
Yeah.
You think it's the same old Big Sur Blue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think I would go with, you're probably 100% right. I want to leave maybe 99%. I want to have a percent of hope that we'll see it. So I'm actually going to be going, and I don't know if people watched last week, but I'm going to actually be going with my family to Walt Disney World. And we're going to be leaving on, I believe, the 30th or so of October. And we're going to actually take the route, the bottom part of the United States. I don't know the freeways off the top of my head. I think we're going to hit a Phoenix first, and then Albuquerque, and then
I-10,
head down.
I think.
Yeah, probably the I-10 maybe, and then go to Austin. So we're going to end up being in Austin on November 2nd and 3rd. Probably the 2nd. I think we're going to hit it up on the 2nd. So we'll see the Fisker Ocean there. If it's the latest and greatest production intent vehicle. Let us know in the comments if we missed something, or you wanted to see something that we didn't capture on any of the videos or the photos that we've shared with you. Maybe we'll have a second chance of playing with things. Like one thing that I haven't still seen a good image of, and Glenn was profusely sorry. He's like, "Oh, I should have wrote down your questions before I went." But was the dashboard. I wanted to see the speaker array in the front of the dashboard. I haven't seen any shots yet of the speakers on the doors or anything. Like, they haven't been well covered, if you will. So that might be good for people who still have a few days left to go check out the Paris Motor Show and the Fisker Ocean. Share some photos and videos of the speakers on the Fisker Ocean. Let us know what that looks like. Granted, we're not going to be able to listen to the audio because we just have a mock-up, if you will, a video kind of on a loop that plays. So we won't be able to hear anything, but it would be cool to know where the speakers are in the vehicle. At least that's something interesting to me. I'm guessing in each of the doors, speaker array probably up in the front dashboard, and then maybe who knows where the other ones are. But I believe there's quite a lot of speakers on. I want to say there's like 16 or something crazy on the Fisker Ocean Extreme and the one. It's going to be like ultimate stereo, high fidelity, hyper sound is what Fisker has branded it as. So I'd love to see those. So yeah, do you guys? Neither of you are planning to go to any of these pop-up locations, are you? You guys aren't going to make the journey.
Yeah, it's just too far.
Yeah,
I don't have the time that date.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Quite far away from the two of you. So anyhow, we'll be covering the Austin, Texas show regardless of what's there. This will be the first time my whole family gets to actually sit in the vehicle, so that'll be kind of a fun experience. And getting their take, because they don't really follow much of what I'm doing. So it'll be neat to have their first reaction. And then also, If you happen to go to the Seattle, Washington, the Houston, Texas, or the Dallas, Texas, since we're not going, if you want to share, once again, your photos and videos with us, just email them to me, Sean@fiskerati.com, and I'll go ahead and work with you to get those up and live on the site for our readers. So that would be great. Now, another thing we're going to talk about is something about reservations. So since last time we ended up broadcasting last week, we learned a little bit more about reservations, and there actually happens to be over 61,000 Fisker Ocean reservations now. So that's quite a bit. Last time Fisker told us back on September, I want to say 29th. So from today and then, I think they reported this on Monday, so the 17th. So just say, a good half month, a little bit more than half a month. They've increased reservations, at least for 1,000. So there definitely has been what appears to be a little bit of a slowdown on the reservation front, is what I've, come to, figure out. So that's kind of interesting. It took them a lot longer to go from say over 60,000 to now 1,000. So who knows what exactly that is, 1,500, 2,000, no more than 2,000 reservations in that short period of time. So I've definitely seen a slowdown. At the beginning of I think we reported our reservation referrals, referrals of people using our referral code. We were at, I want to say, 300 in the middle of middle of August, or was it September? Maybe September, middle of September. I think we had 300 referrals. Today we have 412 referrals. So we've actually continued to see a lot of referrals throughout the month of September. In the month of October, I think there's like 60 or so of that 412 referrals. So there is definitely better than September, not as good as August or July. We started sharing the referral code, I think, at the end of June. So we've definitely still seen, reservations happening through our referral code, but not as many as July or August. However, still more than September. But we didn't make a ton of progress between September 29th, when Fisker last reported their reservations, to this October 17th, when Henrik Fisker himself said over 61,000. Now that could mean they have 65,000 reservations. Who knows? You probably would have said, over 65,000. So my guess is it's somewhere between 61,000 and 62,000, but your guess is as good as mine. Maybe they're going to surprise us on the earnings call. So that's the next thing I wanted to mention. We actually got the earnings release date. We're going to end up having a release date of the Q3 2022 earnings on the 2nd of November. So that is something to look forward to. Now we're going to be on the road on the 2nd of November. So we're going to have to play that one by ear. If we can stream while we're out there on the road, we're going to stream all on the Fiskerati YouTube channel. If we can't, we'll just listen to it, and I'll type up a quick notes of my takeaways from it. So that's kind of something cool to look forward to if you are a Fisker shareholder. Now, something else that's good news, if you're a Fisker shareholder, is that Fisker stock has bounced, if you will, off of the lows of, I should say, the all-time lows. So last week was quite a brutal one for anybody that follows the stock. The stock made at least, I want to say at least two all-time lows last week. The last all-time low was actually on Friday, and it was a low of $6.41 a share. So that was pretty bad, I would say. That was quite a bummer, seeing the stock trade at such a low price. Who would have thought, being 29 days away now from the start of production, that the stock would have fallen past the $10 SPAC level that it went public as. But that's where we're at right there. That is where the stock closed at today. We have a closing price today on Fisker shares of $7.08. It spent a good portion of the day in the red. A couple times it battled back and forth above $7 a share to eke out a 0.57% gain by the end of the day. And as you can see, the stock is down in the after hours session at $6.99, down 9 cents or 1.27%. And I would attribute that to primarily the earnings release of Tesla. Tesla ended up beating on the earnings side, but revenue fell short. And if anyone has been following along since we've gotten going here, there's been a lot of hey, Fisker stock follows the market. Yes, it does that. It also happens to follow at times Tesla shares. So if Tesla, right now, if I'm going to go ahead and pull it up just for fun, I think it was down 6% last I looked. They're 5 point something percent. And now it's down 6.28%. So I would imagine we're going to end up seeing a lot of this tomorrow. We're going to see a lot of the EV stocks in the red. Now, last week I showed you guys that Fisker ended up getting added to the top automotive manufacturers list on Yahoo Finance. So you have a list of them here. And if we go ahead and sort this by percentage gain of today, the Fisker's one of the few companies that actually squeaked out or eked out a positive gain on the day. So market was down today. Fisker's been up now in the green for 3 days. So Friday was a bloodbath. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, the stock's up about 9%. And a few names have been getting pulverized. Li Auto or Li Auto, XPeng, and NIO. NIO's been really taking it on the chin. That stock is, I want to say, today it hit another all-time low. So we have a few of these in all-time lows. Now, if I sort this by market cap, which is kind of interesting, you end up finding, actually, you know what I'm going to do real quick? I'm going to actually change the price on the screener down to $1. So we're going to change it to $1, and we're going to end up going from 15 stocks in the results set to 19. And now I'm going to sort this by market cap. And what you find out is the bottom stocks on this entire list are SPACs, or companies that have de-SPACed. So you have Lordstown Motors, Canoe, Hyzon Motors, Proterra, Livewire, which I don't know why is on the screener, because that's like Harley Davidson's spin out. It does electric motorcycles. And then you have Fisker. That was the order from lowest priced market cap with Ride or Lordstown Motors at $367 million, all the way up to Fisker, which is in the sixth position from the bottom at a $2.11 billion valuation. That's the market cap on Fisker today, October 19th. And there's a couple other SPACs that are on here. Actually, there's just, I think, one other one, and that would be Elusive. So many stocks got annihilated today, with the market being down, just under 1%. And some of these EVs, primarily the ones out of Asia, are just getting pulverized. It's crazy, down 11%, 10%, 10.57%. NIO was down at one point today 12%, maybe 12.5%. Now, something interesting to keep tabs on for people who are following along each week, we're going to keep tracking this as well. This is our short interest on Fisker shares. So I pulled up Fintel for those that want to check this out later. You can go to Google, type in Fisker, short interest, and they take their data daily, a few times a day, actually, from the NYSE and Capital IQ, and share the data. So right now, short interest, there's over 50 million, almost 51 million shares of Fisker is short, and Fisker has about 150 million shares outstanding. That would be 34.73%. That's a lot of shares that are short. back on end of September timeframe, it was at 31%. So we saw, you know, at the beginning of September, around 35% short interest. People who are shorting the stock ended up covering, you know, about 4% of the outstanding shares. And now they've shorted it again. And that's not surprising at all, since Fisker hit an all-time low at least twice last week. But the interesting thing here is the number of days it would take based on the daily volume that Fisker trades. It's about 5 million shares on average a day. It would take the short sellers 12.7 days to cover the 50.9 million shares outstanding. So if there is ever a short squeeze, this is going to be quite a short squeeze, with almost 35% of the outstanding shares shorted. And one other thing I want to share, which is interesting, I saw this earlier today, if I can find it here on the screen. The total, so when you short shares, you actually have to pay interest in order to short the shares on certain securities. And the actual brokerage firm can set whatever whatever interest rate they want to set. They can set, and the interest rate is at, and I can't find it on here right now. It's not on the screen anymore for some odd reason, but it was around 20.78%. That's quite a high interest rate. So whoever lends you these shares, and they collect interest, the person shorting the shares has to pay 20.78% interest, and that's the annual interest rate that they would have to pay. So pretty interesting stuff. And you can check that out on Fintel if you're interested. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Fisker shares between now and the next 29 days when the company starts production. Will the stock market end up continually dropping like it's been dropping? Are we going to continue this uptrend with maybe a bear market rally? Who knows what's going to happen? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm in Fisker shares for the long haul. In fact, today I had a little bit of cash left in my IRA account, and I have maybe $1,000 left in my IRA account, maybe less than that. But I have once again more shares in my IRA account, totally maxed out now for an even round number of shares. So not financial advice one bit, riskiest stock investment that I have in all of my accounts, but just being transparent for the people who are following along. And that's exciting times. We'll see what happens. As I mentioned on the last week, Fisker could go out of business, stock could go to zero. That's the worst case scenario. Obviously, I wouldn't have put my money in it if I thought it was doing that, but you never know. That's what happens with risky investments. So that's where we are with the shares. I do have a really cool video that I'm going to do next week if it all pans out. But I talked about Ross Gerber, who is one of the founders, and he's the CEO of Gerber Kawasaki. I'm going to be chatting with him next week, and we're going to be talking about electric vehicles. And in particular, we're probably going to talk about Tesla earnings, which are going to probably dictate kind of where things go tomorrow, maybe throughout the rest of the week. But we're going to talk to him about Fisker shares. He's never really talked much about, if at all, Fisker shares. He's a big supporter of Tesla. He's been investing in Tesla forever. In addition, he also has shares in Polestar. I'll have to ask him if he also has shares or plans to purchase shares in Fisker. Maybe he won't, maybe he will, maybe he already has some, who knows? But he definitely is super knowledgeable when it comes to all the macro and micro environments that can help and hurt the EV sector. So it'll be fun to catch up with him next week. I think that's on a Wednesday, or maybe I think it's a Wednesday late afternoon. So we'll post that video by itself, and then we'll also probably watch it or talk about the highlights next week when we get to the stock talk. section for Fisker. So that's all I have for everybody on the stock. Let's go ahead and take a look at the questions, if there are any questions. Have you guys seen any questions by chance?
Yeah, I did see one. I don't have it right in front of me, but somebody made a comment about the hook on the back of the seat. And they mentioned, and I remember reading in the press release saying that there would be some sort of attachment system for the seat for attaching devices like iPads, and that's in one of the press releases. So maybe that little thing that we see, maybe it's a connection point for these adapters for say attachments for the back seat where you can put things on. So maybe not just a coat hook or grocery bag hook. Maybe it could be used for other things. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that would be interesting to find out. Yeah, you could put groceries on there. That'd be an interesting one to hang groceries. I never thought of that one. Whoa. Showing a tweet here, or a comment here, when it comes to spraying water on the windshield, the test, the auto wipers, LOL. So that's what I was going to do. I was going to actually share, if it's freezing up, we're going to go ahead and share some comments today. And believe it or not, we end up having Glenn Kahn, who actually did all the videos for us. He actually is following along tonight. So and he actually said that, oh, geez, I've got quite the delay here on the video. Okay, so there we go. I'm not going to share anymore because it's taking forever. But we have Glenn, and he actually said, someone asked him what the interior felt like. And Glenn said the seats were super comfortable. He said that it felt like ultra suede, which I thought was an interesting way to describe the interior seats. It definitely has a suede texture, but ultra suede, the new ones, pretty cool. Let's go ahead and to look here. I have to hop over to YouTube to check out the streaming service. Just awful as far as looking at the comments tonight. So if you guys have any questions, post them down below in the chat. Not seeing many up at the top. Okay, does anyone know what sound system will come on the Ocean? We don't know who makes the actual sound system. We do know that Fisker has an internal team working on the sound system, though, the technology, the software. And they call it actually Hyper Sound in the Ocean 1 and the Extreme. And that's what I mentioned. It'd be interesting to know where all the speakers are set on the vehicle. So that'll be something fun for us to try to see on the next videos that come out of the latest production intent vehicle. And someone asked, will it have Sirius in the apps? Nope, right now we don't know if the Fisker Ocean will have Sirius XM radio as an app. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Definitely not in the demo that we saw. Someone wanted to know what Limo Mode meant. We went through that one. It's a way for us to control, or our passengers in the rear to control the audio volume, the temperature of the seats, and the air conditioning, or the flow of heat and air from the vents. So it puts them in control of how they feel, or how they want to set their comfort in the back. And one thing Glenn did mention, he said there was lots and lots of legroom in the rear of the vehicles. And there was a couple photos where I saw seats totally pushed back, as far as they could go, and the people that were in the back had a hard time, getting, basically their knees were jammed into the seat. So the seats go back extremely far. But Glenn said when they were in, a fairly far back position, he had lots of leg room. So that was nice to hear for people who are in the rear of the vehicle. And Glenn could confirm as well. Someone asked about the, how did the sound, what's the sound of the door? Glenn ended up mentioning in his video review, if you will, that was like a soft thunk, a very sturdy, solid doors. He actually said solid a few times, which actually matched what we said after hearing the Fisker Ocean shut on the high volume assembly line at Magna. So he would agree with that assessment. Definitely a very solid door. Yeah, not too many questions tonight. Let's see here. When we're talking about the stock, let's see, it probably would need the PPF. Okay, that's not hammer time. Why? Let's see. So talking about the stock, a few questions on the stock. People are talking about why a couple of the Asian EV makers should be higher versus say Lucid or maybe even Fisker. Yeah, it's all, hard to tell how a lot of these are valued. They all should be valued based on revenue and the fundamentals, but not, a lot of times they are not. A lot of times it's speculation. One thing I just did is we gave everybody who watched the call tonight or the video and listen in to the live stream a chance to actually vote in the poll. So we had 87 votes in the poll. We asked the question, are you still excited about the Fisker Ocean after seeing video of it from the Paris Motor Show? Overwhelming yes, 96% of the people are still excited about the Fisker Ocean after seeing the video from the Paris Motor Show. That's pretty cool. 96% of the 87 people that voted. 2% of the people voted meh, like so. And then only 1%. There's one Debbie Downer amongst us of the 87 people that voted no. So pretty cool. Fisker is still keeping everybody engaged, and people are still as excited about the Fisker Ocean today as they were last week before the Paris Motor Show. We have one question for myself. It looks like, Sean, any update on financing? I think you mentioned it would be solidified end of the month. No, I don't recall mentioning that, but we will get an update around financing if you're referring to maybe the at the market offering that Fisker has, the $350 million that they can do. We'll probably get an update on that from Gita Fisker on the earnings call on November 2nd. So that's less than 2 weeks away. In fact, it's actually 2 weeks away, I believe, from today. It's on, I believe, November 2nd is a Wednesday. So we have 2 weeks from today that we'll get an update. And it would be cool to be able to do a live stream of that call. So we'll have to wait and see if we can do that while being on the road. Here's maybe a question for the three of us. Were there any size differences in cargo space between the Paris show and the previous one? So basically, in the production intent vehicle versus a early prototype, is the size of the trunk the same? The cargo area? I would say it was pretty similar. We did never get to see what was underneath the actual cover, the floor cover. So we never got to see what the space was there. In a lot of the pop-up locations, Fisker would never open the trunk of the rear cargo area door of the Fisker Ocean. It was kind of locked shut most of the time. So it was nice to see that opened at the Paris Motor Show. And I think that's probably all we have as far as questions go. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there for the people who are watching right now. If you haven't liked this video, if you could take just 2 seconds, hit the like button. Greatly appreciate that. And then go ahead and don't forget to follow the OSR Garage YouTube channel, the Tesla Tips by Mountain Ranger YouTube channel, and of course the Fiskerati YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate that. If you have any additional questions, make sure to post them in the chat. We do have 2 that came in here just now. Any news on the configurator? No. I know there was some rumors that it was going to come out like 2 weeks ago, and wasn't quite sure of that one. I would say still by the end of the month. We still have, what is that, 12 days before the end of the month. So Fisker's got time to get that configurator out. So we'll definitely write an article up on that when it's live. And then another question about Apple Pay, Apple CarPlay. And don't know anything about that, or listening to basically no news on Apple CarPlay, whether or not that'll be included. And then lastly, we have a question about charging speeds. Do we know anything about charging speeds?
Yeah.
I don't think we know anything about charging speeds. I know Jim had a little tidbit about the Lucid. I don't know if he wants to share that or not, but we have some information about the battery size, but we're not going to disclose that now in the event that we're probably not supposed to. So we're not going to share that information. Maybe Jim, though, can talk about some information that he got from Lucid, or about Lucid and their battery and charging.
Well, it's actually about the Polestar 3.
Oh, it's the Polestar. Sorry, not Lucid. Polestar 3. Sorry about that. Butchered that
one. So it actually came from Polestar 3, and this is kind of what we've learned. Polestar is also claiming that they're running on a 400 volt system and going to be pulling 250 kilowatts, which previously, before we've talked about that probably was not going to be possible unless it was an 800 volt system because of the amperage that it would need to be at 250 kilowatts. But obviously there's something that Polestar knows and Fisker and Magna know, that Fisker was listing on their website 250 kilowatts plus. So apparently there may be something that we haven't heard about. I heard them actually talking about it on Inside EVs. They were a little confused about it too, and Kyle made a point to say that maybe there is a switch that when it goes to charge, that it can switch over and charge at a higher amperage. I don't know what that software would be to control that. Nobody's real sure what's going on, but apparently we've got 2 companies that are both saying the same thing. So that means that there is something out there that we just haven't heard about or don't know about for sure. So it looks like we could see that 250 kilowatt charging, and that would be awesome. And then the other thing was the Polestar is saying they're going to have 111 kilowatt hour battery, and I'm guessing that is usable. I'm not sure. It sounds like a weird number to be the overall size, but they are claiming 300 miles of EPA range. And my point on this was, if let's say Fisker was using the same size battery, they're already claiming 340 to 350 miles. And if Polestar is only expecting to get 300, that would mean Polestar is not a very efficient vehicle. So that would be a little bit of a struggle. And they're saying 270 miles if they add this performance pack, which their horsepower numbers are nowhere near what Fisker's is going to be. So if it's going to, since the Ocean is actually going to come out before Polestar, and Polestar is putting these numbers out that are under Fisker, it's really going to make Polestar look bad. And when Fisker comes out and it's like, oh, we got 350-mile range, we're pulling 250 kilowatt charging, and we've got more horsepower. And then here comes Polestar, comes out with basically about the same type of setup with less horsepower, less range. It's going to make it look bad. So I would say we're going to be really excited when we finally get to actually see what comes out of this car. I don't doubt that everything that Magna and Fisker have been saying is going to be true. And someone else had commented earlier about the mileage. They were saying 600 and some kilometers, and it's going to equal out to like 390 miles. I just want to let everybody know that they were quoting WLTP ranges. That's not EPA range. So that's where people get a little confused with that. The WLTP thing, I don't understand why it's so way off from everything and why they keep using it if it's so way off.
It's just a different testing standard. Yeah.
But, it just gets me where you watch the channels that are from Europe and they say the WLTP and they're like the real world range is like 50 or 60 miles shorter than that. It's like, why even bother saying the WLTP range? Because it's so far off. It's just ridiculous. But anyway.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's great. Yeah. Thank you. Well, that is going to do it for us, everybody. Thank you very much for hanging out with us for a couple hours on All Things Fisker episode number 6. You all have a good rest of your day, rest of your night, and we will catch up with you soon.
Yeah.